in collaboration with research and information system for developing countries, as well as the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India. It engages the young minds across universities in our country, which is the objective of such program. This is perhaps second such program. We had earlier also one C20, Y20, this type of initiatives here. So in this regard, first, I would like to welcome the delegates on the dais. First, I would like to call upon the president of this meet, Professor Rajiv Mohan Pant, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to take his place. Sir, please. Followed by the chief guest of today's program, Sri Parimal Chakraborty, Honorable Cabinet Minister of Government of Assam. And also the keynote speaker, His Excellency, former Ambassador L. Ralte. Dr. Shivakumar, guest of honor, who is the Chief Conservator of Forest. Dr. Pradosh Kiran Nath, Registrar of our university. Sir, please. And none other than the brain behind this program, the convener, Professor Gangabhushan Mulankal, to please come over and take your seat over the dais. Now, the students of our university will be felicitating the guests. May I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to felicitate His Excellency, former Ambassador of India, L. Ralte. by our traditional University Uttario and a memento. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to request our registrar, sir, Dr. Pradosh Kiran Nath, to felicitate our Cabinet Minister, Sri Parimal Chakraborty, please. With our University Uttario and a memento. Thank you very much, sir. Now the convener, Professor Gangabhushan, will be felicitating the guest of honor, Dr. Shivakumar. Sir, please. With the same, our traditional Uttario and a memento. Professor Gangabhushan will also felicitate our Honorable Vice Chancellor. He is requested to felicitate our registrar sir also. Sorry? Thank you very much, sir. Now, I would like to request Dr. Joyasri from the Department of Social Work to come over the dais and felicitate our convener, Dr. rather Professor Ganga Bhushan. VC sir, sir, please felicitate. Rather, VC sir, our VC sir is felicitating him. That is a great honor. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot. Now, we are very much fortunate that students from our Department of Performing Arts of our university will be offering welcome song. Sorry, felicitation. After that, we have a lighting of lamp before welcome song. Just a moment, we have a lighting of lamp. So for this, I would like to invite all the dignitaries. Please join the lighting of lamp ceremony.
विश्वरूपी ईशानाथी विद्याञ्जलि नमोऽस्तु
Thank you. Now we'll have a presentation on G20 Indian Presidency 2023. The official video will be played now. Thank you. So we'll be going ahead with our program. So at first, the welcome address of the program will be delivered by Honorable Registrar Dr. Pradosh Kiranna. Sir, please.
Honorable President, uh, Vice Chancellor Professor Rajiv Mohan Pant, Honorable Chief Guest of the program, Minister Government of Assam, Mr. Parimal Shuklabuddhuji, Honorable Ambassador, uh, Chief respected convener, Professor Gangabhushan Sir, my dear colleagues of the dais, and my dear students, and all other distinguished guests present here. As a part of G20 initiative by Government of India, universities across the nation are organizing program on G20, engage young minds on pressing issues of the globe and how India can offer solution to those issues. I, on behalf of Assam University, extend hearty welcome to Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Ambassador, respected Chief Conservator of Forest, distinguished guests, my dear present here. India from time immemorial believes in shared principle of living. That is why the theme of India's G20 presidency is one Earth, one family, one future. It is therefore a great opportunity for India to work towards those principles which India strives for, that is economic stability, eradication of terrorism, change mitigation, sustainable development, to mention amongst many others. G20 gives India an opportunity to set global priorities. It also gives India an opportunity to showcase its growing economic and political strength. But G20 presidency is not only important for India, it is a remarkable moment for the entire world. A country which is the fastest growing nation in the world, a country which is the largest democracy in the world, a country which believes in the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, shall showcase its experience to the world to learn how to make this world a better place to live. And with this objective, today's program has been organized in collaboration with Research and Information System for Developing Countries. I hope the program will give us enough inputs to forward the theme of G20 presidency to the world. I wish the program a grand success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the defining ideas of India's G20 presidency, which are hope, harmony, peace, and stability. May I now invite the convener of this promotion, sir, to explain more about the program.
Oh, very good morning to all of you. It will be a great morning. I wish you a great morning to all of you. Honorable President of the program, our beloved Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Rajiv Mohan Pant, Chief Guest of today's program, Parimal Shukla Vaidyaji, Parimalda, known as, who no one knows him, everyone knows. We don't need introduction of him. We are very fortunate that he is amongst us. Shri Ralte sir is our former ambassador. He will be the one who is delivering his keynote address. And Dr. Shiv Kumar sir, Chief Conservator of Forest, Assam. And then our beloved Registrar sir, respected dignitaries who have arrived from Delhi and Agartala, the faculty members of Assam University, research scholars, dear students, and the students who are joining in virtual mode, because the program will be live streamed. Many students have joined. So I welcome all of you, including the media personnel, for this today's G20 University Connect program. Talking about the program, our registrar sir has set the tone of the meeting by mentioning the key principles of G20 program that we are going to start with. This is part of the series of programs that India has been organizing. More than 200 events in 57 places are going on. The basic understanding of this G20 is to question the top-down approach and follow the bottom-up approach. Each one sitting here, each one attending any G20 program is part of the G20 initiatives that India is going to take as a presidency, which will be held in Delhi. So this is the best example of, as rightly mentioned by our registrar sir, the democratic approach. Coming back to what we are going to discuss is on 3H. One H is for healing. Second H is for harmony. And third H is for hope. Why we are talking about healing is we have destroyed a lot our mother earth. That's why the theme is one earth, one family, one future. If you are destroying this place, there is no accommodate human beings. This is the only earth who can tolerate us. Now the time has come to think that in what way we can revitalize this earth. That's why healing. Recently we had world pandemic that has also destroyed human beings. Okay, to a large extent, many species are being depleting every second. So that's why its harmony is one. Sorry, healing is one. Harmony, because when we are living in one single family, naturally there will be conflicts. We have Syria and other instances where the world is disturbed. People are also dying for food in some places. There is no water. We experienced recently flood. We suffered from shortage of water. So these natural calamities, because we have exploited a lot, that is resulting into exploitation of further resources. Again, we will be at the receiving end. So second is harmony. How we can bring synergy between different cultures, how we can bring synergy between different faiths, how we can work together with differences, how we can promote the culture of respecting the diversity, respecting the differences. This is what second. And third is hope. When we take care of these first two things, when we recover from this healing process, and second thing is when we bring harmony, these two things will decide our hope. Hope is the only thing which makes us alive. We will not die till we lose the hope. Hope is the only beacon of inspiration which makes people to live, to be alive. So this is a time to rethink and university connect. Young minds to be connected. Young minds are busy in mobile. How can we use this technology to break the digital divide? Number one, how to use these young minds having lot of potentials, having lot of energies, having lot of expectations. Can we channelize this? We have 2-3 lectures. You must have got the program schedule which addresses these issues. Number one, environmental issues. Our sir will take. Number two, Padma Shri Awardee winner Kannan sir, Dr. Ravi Kannan sir, he will be speaking on how to deal with the emerging health and well-being issues that the current young generations are facing. Drug mafia is increasing. Globalization has positive as well as negative. Can we make these global forces, globalizations, positively to engage our young minds for proper positive direction to make really our earth as Mother Earth? With this, I welcome once again to all of you. We will have one more session which talks about the legalities. One advocate from Silchar, she will be talking on the legal aspects and how youth can be synchronized with the laws, the changing laws. Cyber laws are increasing. There are many laws are there. So that is one important session. And second thing is we are anxiously waiting for our Ralte sir, who is a beacon of inspiration and who will set the tone of this meeting with his keynote address. Once again, I welcome all the dignitaries and the students and the participants present here physically and virtually. And one more thing I'm just reminded of, we have put on some what you call posters. These posters are result of the 4 events that we organized. One is extempore speech, second is poster making competition, photography competition, then quiz competition. For quiz competition, there were 95 people participated across the country, and we have displayed first, second, third prizes are also the prizes will be given. And with that, we have one stall set up by Saksham. Saksham is an organization working with Divyangans, and this stall is nothing but Divyangans on their own. They have prepared some articles you can purchase, promote their livelihood. So we can have a round of applause, Divyangan friends, so that they feel energy, they feel included. This is your program, our program. Many people are watching, so just because people are watching, we should be decent. But since people are watching, we will be more responsible. So I hope you can make successful this program through your participation, through your passionate interaction with the resource persons. Once again, bear with us. There will be some problem. Live stream, some sitting arrangement is also there outside. Feel free. If you are feeling too much cold, you can go out and you can watch the program from there also. Thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gangabhushan sir, for a detailed account of this program. Now I would like to request our Honorable Cabinet Minister, Sri Porimal Shuklavidya sir, for his address, please.
Respected VC sir, सर संपर्क है अपना आदमी के साथ बात करता हूँ। आप बहुत ऊंचाई पे है, फिर भी हम लोग का ऐसा लगता है कि अपना फैमिली में ही है आप। ज्यादा आपको सैल्यूट करता हूँ। एक अपना दोस्त जैसा फॉर्मर एम्बेसडर जुड़ा हुआ है, मेरे लिए आइडियल से है, मिजोरम से है ना जी। मिजोरम अपना मैं धलाई से बिलोंग्स करता हूँ, आप लोग का जानकारी है ही। धलाई मिजोरम का साथ जस्ट टू मिजोरम बॉर्डर। ऐसा है, मैं थोड़ा देर पहले बात कर रहा था अपना फॉर्मर एम्बेसडर जी से, जो बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट मिजोरम से, ये असम यूनिवर्सिटी का बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट असम यूनिवर्सिटी में स्टडी करके गया, अभी भी शायद कुछ तो यूनिवर्सिटी में है ही। मिजोरम का साथ ये बड़ाक वैली का, ये असम का एक बहुत संपर्क है, दिल का संपर्क है, क्योंकि मिजोरम ये असम से ही आना जाना है। सबने बोला कुछ देर पहले, जब जिंदगी में कितना दफे मैं बाई रोड इधर में आया हूँ, इसका कोई पता नहीं। तो ऐसा ही आदमी आज का ये मंच पे, बाकी जो है, बाकी रजिस्टर सर है, उनका साथ तो यहाँ का ही सन ऑफ द सॉइल है, बहुत अपना। हमारा गंगा भूषण जी के बारे में थोड़ा देर पहले मैं वीसी साहब से बात किया। गंगा भूषण वो तो साउथ से बिलोंग्स करता है, आप लोग का जानकारी है ही। आने का बाद ऐसा कोई बंगाली आदमी है क्या वो हमारा गांव पे, कि उनका साथ बंगाली में बात करके बोले कि भाई आप बंगाली या मैं बंगाली। ये समाज का साथ, ये आदमी का साथ ऐसा ही मिलजुल के रहता है, उसका दिल इतना बड़ा है। मैं तो कभी कभी ऐसा लगता है कि उनका स्टूडेंट होता तो मैं उनसे कुछ ले सकता था, मगर क्या करूं, भगवान ने हमको थोड़ा देर पहले भेज दिया इधर इसलिए प्रॉब्लम हो गई। तो इसलिए गंगा भूषण जी बहुत बहुत अपना है। एक आदमी को देखिए हर जिंदगी में कुछ कुछ आदमी दिल में बैठ जाता है। ऐसा मेरा भी एक कुछ आदमी है, आप लोग का भी है, जो दिल से आप जितना ही चाहे उसको उसको दूर राख नहीं सकता है। ऐसा एक आदमी इधर में है, हमारा CCF। मैं कभी, आप लोग का जानकारी होगा शायद, मैं कभी कभी फॉरेस्ट में काम करता था, तो उसी टाइम पे वो डायरेक्टर था, डायरेक्टर काजीरंगा का बारे में। G20 का भी बहुत सारे कंट्री है जो काजीरंगा का बारे में जानता है। तो डायरेक्टर था वो। डायरेक्टर आने का पहले पहले करीबन हर रोज 2-4 कोचिंग हुआ करता था। ये राइनो का हो या अलग सा कोई एनिमल का हो। ये आने का बाद इतना साथ दिया, ये मैं प्राउडली बोल सकता हूँ, मैं बोलता हूँ, इतना साथ दिया उनका टाइम पे। मैं जब फॉरेस्ट से अलग सा कोई डिपार्टमेंट में ट्रांसफर हुआ या आ गया, 0 कोचिंग करके आया, एक भी कोचिंग नहीं। इसलिए मैं क्या बोलूं, मैं शिव कुमार जी को मैं दिल से चाहता हूं। और आप इतना अच्छा काम किया है, क्योंकि गंगा भूषण जी भी कुछ देर पहले आपके बारे में बोला है। ये एनिमल जगत के लिए बातचीत किया है कि जितना 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 हम लोग हीलिंग किया हो, इसका बाद भी आया है इधर भी। तो आप लोग जैसा आदमी है, इसलिए कोई ना कोई जगह पे ये चर्चा होता है, कोई ना कोई जगह पे ये काम करने के लिए कोई ना कोई आदमी उभर के आता है। और ये आने के लिए ही, सोचने के लिए ही G20 ने इतना अच्छा जो एक अच्छा प्रोग्राम बनाया। शायद यही मकसद है, आपने जैसा बोला कि हम लोग जितना हूँ ये G20 का मेंबर हूँ, प्रेसिडेंट से हमारा इंडिया में वो बातचीत हो ही गया। मगर ऐसा है कि कोई ना कोई जगह पे हम लोग का चिंतन करना चाहिए, सोचना चाहिए। हम लोग कहाँ से शुरुआत किया था, हम अभी कहाँ। कल एक जगह पे छोटा सा बात था, मैं पार्टी का बात बोलने के लिए इधर आया नहीं, फिर भी हमारा पार्टी ने एक प्रोग्राम लगाया। ये प्रोग्राम में हम लोग को बोला गया टिफिन बैठक। आप लोग का शायद ये सोशल मीडिया वगैरह में आप लोग का, तो टिफिन बैठक में पहले मैं भी सुना। बैठ के ऐसा मैं सोचा कि भैया ये टिफिन बैठक करने का क्या जरूरत था। फिर भी काम 3 बार में मैंने किया, तो मैं बैठ के बात कर रहा था, तो उसी टाइम पे मेरा दिमाग में आया कि आज तो सही ढंग से ले जाने के लिए आदमी तो चाहिए, आदमी सही ढंग से चलने के खाना तो चाहिए। खाना 2 किस्म के है। कौन सा 2 किस्म के है? एक तो खाना है नजर से, नाक से, और एक तो मुंह से। बात तो इतना है। दिल से क्या लेना है या खाना है, ऑक्सीजन लेना है या खाना है, ऐसा है नहीं। ऑक्सीजन लेना है, इसमें तो कोई दो राय नहीं है, तो लेना तो पड़ेगा ही आपका। साथ ही साथ कुछ ना कुछ तो खाना पड़ेगा आपका। क्या खाएगा उसका भी नीति चाहिए, क्या लेगा उसका भी नीति चाहिए। ऐसा तो आप ऑक्सीजन लाना है आपका, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड तो लाना नहीं है ना, उसका भी चॉइस होना चाहिए। ऑक्सीजन कहां से आएगा वो भी सोचना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारा हर हमारा हर दिन का, हर रोज का, हर पल का ये दोनों होना चाहिए। ये ठीक है, ये G20 का बात छोड़िए, ये ठीक है, बड़ा बड़ा बात, लेक्चर, वो बात छोड़ना है। फिर हमको तो जीना है। मैं तो खुद जीना चाहता हूं। सेल्फ कंजर्वेशन इज द फर्स्ट नेचर। नेचर नहीं हमको बोलते कि भाई पहले तुम अपना खुद का सोचो यार। खुद का सोचो यानी पहला बात है कि सुबह में उठ के कितना ऑक्सीजन लिया वो भी सोचना चाहिए, कैसे लिया वो भी सोचना चाहिए, और कितना बिगड़ गया वो भी सोचना चाहिए। ऐसा बिगड़ जाता है तो इन फ्यूचर पे हम क्या होगा, मैं कैसा जीऊंगा, मेरा लड़का कैसा जिएगा, मेरा लड़की कैसा जिएगा, वो भी तो सोचना चाहिए। यंग जनरेशन का भी सोचना चाहिए। आप लोग बोल सकता है कि भैया ये तो आप लोग का काम है, आप लोग मिनिस्टर है, आप लोग जो है कि आप लोग हमारा फैमिली गार्जियन है, सोसाइटी का गार्जियन है। आप लोग इधर में मंच पे बैठा हुआ जो है कि ठीक है आप लोग गार्जियन है, आप लोग सोचिए, ये आप लोग का काम है, हमारा काम पढ़ाई करने का। अरे यार, पढ़ाई करने से ही ना ज्ञान आता है। इतना तो आना चाहिए कि ठीक है मैं भी ले रहा हूं, निचार से ले रहा हूं, कहाँ हमारा कौन सा जगह पे हमारा लेगिंग है, कहाँ करना चाहिए। ये तो पहला बात है। जैसा गंगा भूषण जी ने बोला कि हम लोग इतना, ये तो हमारा सीसीएफ साहब ने अच्छा ढंग से बोल पाएगा कि वो फॉरेस्ट में काम करता है, आईएफएस आदमी है। हम लोग इतना खत्म किया कि आज ये ऑक्सीजन लेना भी एक क्राइसिस जोन में आ गया। उसको कैसे सुधारना है, ठीक करना है। अलग अलग जो कंट्री का साथ हमारा ताल्लुक G20 का साथ हुआ या होते रहेगा, उसी जगह पे कैसे चल रहा है, ये व्यवस्था कैसा चल रहा है, हमारा इधर में हम कितना पीछे हूं, कितना हमारा एडवांस होना है, ये भी सोचना चाहिए। ये भी सोचना चाहिए। और सोचने से नहीं होता है, काम करना चाहिए। आप लोग पढ़ाई में हैं, आप लोग का ऐसा सोच आएगा कि अरे भाई ये हम फर्स्ट क्लास फर्स्ट हो जाता तो बहुत अच्छा था। सोचने से तो काम नहीं बनेगा यार। काम तो बनेगा जब पढ़ाई करेगा तभी ना फर्स्ट क्लास फर्स्ट होगा। बात तो इतना है। सोचने का जो विल पावर वो तो भगवान ने इनबिल्ट कर ही दिया। कोई आदमी सोच सकता है, बैठ के बोल सकता है कि ऐसा होने से ठीक था, ऐसा होने से ठीक है, ऐसा हो जाता तो फ्यूचर सुधर जाता। फ्यूचर का बात भी इधर में आया है, सुधर जाता फ्यूचर। फिर वो सुधरने के लिए तो काम भी करना है ना, काम करना है। कहाँ काम करना है उसका भी रिसर्च होना चाहिए, कैसे काम करना है उसका भी रिसर्च होना चाहिए। ठीक ऐसा ही हर जगह पे, शायद टाइम का पाबंदी होगा ऐसा कुछ। ये काल का जो दो बात है वो खाने वाला बात, यही वो वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का साथ जुड़ा हुआ है। इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूं कि खाना, आजकल मिलेट मिशन आया है, मोदी जी ने लाके दिया है हम लोग। तो मिलेट मिशन में इतना दिन क्यों नहीं था हम लोग? कोई ना कोई आदमी, कोई ना कोई सोसाइटी का कोई ना कोई लीडर वो ढूंढ के लाया है, रिसर्च करके। ये मिलेट हमारा जिंदगी में बहुत बड़ा एक प्रभाव दे सकता है। तो इसलिए बस मिलेट मिशन का बारे में मैं बोलने वाला नहीं हूं। मेरा कहना इतना है कि स्वच्छ ढंग से खाने का जो तरीका, मेरा पार्टी भी सोच रहा है कि कैसा ये जो है टिफिन बैठक का माध्यम से मैं अपना जो हेल्थ अपना हेल्थ में ठीक कर सकता हूँ। हम घर से निकलना है, आप लोग जो है, आप लोग घर से निकलता है या जहां रहता है वहां से निकलता है तो उसका बाद में 12 घंटा 14 घंटा आपको बाहर में रहना पड़ता है। बीच में क्या टिफिन लेगा, क्या लेने से आपका सटीक रहेगा, कैसा खाने का तरीका होना चाहिए, वो भी तो आपका जानकारी में आना चाहिए। वो भी तो जो है उसका भी जानकारी होना चाहिए। ऐसा बोलने से नहीं होगा कि वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, पूरा विश्व हमारा कुटुंब है, हमारा फैमिली है। अपना फैमिली है तो उसको खिलाने पिलाने का क्या इंतजाम किया है भाई, कितना है आपका पास? ये पूरा वर्ल्ड का बात छोड़िए, इंडिया का बात सोचिए, इंडिया का बात छोड़िए। अब ये जो है यूनिवर्सिटी कछार डिस्ट्रिक्ट में पढ़ता है, तो कछार डिस्ट्रिक्ट में ठीक है, कछारी मेरा फैमिली है, कुटुंब है, वो कुटुंब को खिलाने का क्या बंदोबस्त मेरा पास है? जो नहीं है, क्यों नहीं है? करना चाहता हूं तो क्या करना चाहता हूं, वो भी तो दिमाग में लाना चाहिए। क्योंकि ये जो है G20 का बहुत जगह पे मैं देखा कि सोचने का तरीका, काम करने का तरीका का साथ ही उसका वार्तालाप होता है। तो मैं ज्यादा बोलना नहीं हूँ, बस यहाँ से ये परिचय का समय पे ही कुछ मन पे आ गया, बोल दिया मैंने। तो मैं बस काल में गंगाभूषण जी को टेलीफोन से बात हुआ था, तो गंगाभूषण जी बोला जो ऐसा हमारा बहुत सारे लड़का लड़की अपना जो है हमारा यूनिवर्सिटी का अपना वीसी भी रहेगा, अपना प्रोफेसर लोग भी है, एक G20 का छोटा सा है, आपको आना पड़ेगा। मेरा बहुत अच्छा लगा कि आप लोग का तो दर्शन हो जाएगा, क्योंकि G20 का पहला मकसद है ऐसा ही सोच के ही कि हम लोग एक अर्थ में हो, ऐसा ही सोच के ही वसुधैव कुटुंबकम। तो इतना है, कभी कभी दिल में तो कुटुंब को गले लगाना दिल में आता है ना, तो मैं आया हूँ कुटुंब को गले लगाने के लिए, देखने के लिए कि आप लोग अच्छा है तो ठीक है, आप लोग सब ठीक ठाक है, अच्छा है, यही देखने के लिए आया। ये जो है कॉन्फ्रेंस सक्सेसफुल हो, ये ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करके हर आदमी को जहाँ मंचासी है, आप लोग नमन, इतना स्टूडेंट लोग, प्रोफेसर लोग इधर आया है।
Thanks very much, sir, for your encouraging words. Now it is time for the presidential address, which will be delivered by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor Rajiv Mohan Pantji. Please.
Honorable Minister, Government of Assam, and the Chief Guest of the day, our very own Parimalda, Honorable Speaker of the day, Sri Ralte ji, the Ambassador, Guest of Honor, Sri Shiv Kumar ji, Ganga Bhushan ji, Pradosh ji, Rahul ji, Jayant ji, my distinguished colleagues, and my dear students. It is indeed a great occasion that we have gathered here to celebrate G20, which is, India is having presidency, G20 presidency, and we are very fortunate to have such learned people with us today. Just now we listened to Honorable Chief Guest, Parimalda. He spoke very highly about all the people sitting here. I must say that we received a lot of inspirations from him. Find such a senior minister with such humility. And he says that he would love to be the student of गंगा भूषण जी, वो थोड़ा सा पहले पैदा हो गए थे, इसलिए उनको ये सौभाग्य नहीं मिला। मैं I'll say that sir, ये हमारा सौभाग्य है कि हमें आपसे सीखने को मिल रहा है, और he has also been a teacher, so it's really wonderful having such a teacher, such a wonderful person with so much of humility and without any demand for protocol. Whenever we request him to be in our midst, he obliges us, and such a wonderful person. His presence here is really very, very motivating. We also have Sri Ralteji, a very, very experienced diplomat, and we all look forward to listening to him to get some good insights about India's foreign policy. We would be happy to learn from him about this G20 presidency that is a very ambitious thing for our country right now, as we are the president. We are this G20 is progressing under the presidency of India. Well, as Ganga Bhushan ji mentioned, that we have three major principles in this. First of all, guiding principle is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That has been an age-old practice with our country, Bharat. We have always believed in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam concept. And now three guiding principles, one earth, one family, and one future. This is the reality, as Ganga Bhushan ji mentioned, that there is only one earth. If you are not playing our role as a true son of this Mother Earth, Mother Earth will also not be kind to us. So one earth, one family, and one future. We have the same future whether we live in America, China, Rus, or Bharat. If we destroy nature, nature will destroy us. So we have to take good care of our Mother Earth. So, and how we can do it? Now we have this University Connect. And education is the best way to empower people. And we are trying to achieve these things through education, and that's why we have this University Connect program. We're trying to channelize young minds. We're trying to reach out to young students so that we gear up to make this world a better place to live in. Education, when I talk about education, it reminds me of three phases. One phase that existed 100 BC to 1200 AD. That was the phase when India dominated the globe. That was the time when we had wonderful institutions like Takshashila, Vikramshila, Nalanda, and Sarada Vidyapeeth. N number of good institutions existed in our Bharat, in our country, and people from across the globe, they came to receive enlightenment from these institutions. Needless to say that enlightened mind which were illuminated in these institutions of prominence, they contributed in overall development of countries, and that's why India was known as the golden bird. We were not only intellectually superior to one, but this intellectual superiority also made us materialistically superior also. And that was the golden era, that was the time when India was known as the golden bird. And then from 12th to 19th century, focus shifted from India to Europe. And then came universities like Bologna, Oxford, Cambridge, and a number of universities came up in Europe. And they paved the way for capacity development, intellectual capacity development, and at the same time, economic development. Renaissance happened in the Europe, and Europe dominated the world. And since 19th century, now the most sought after academic institutions are there in the US. And of course, US is number one in the country. But this individual excellence is not going to change the world. While we have world-class institutions in the US, we have world-class institutions in the Europe, but the whole world is still not included in this path of development. So what we need is inclusivity, and this G20 is an attempt to include all the nations. Of course, we have 20 nations which are there in this G20, but we have included a couple of countries as guests, members in this G20 this time. Sri Lanka is there, Bangladesh is there, and a couple of other countries also there. But idea is not to leave behind even a single country. Every country should be a part of this development. And this will happen only when we empower people with education, educated minds, have capacity to transform this globe, transform the nation. G20 has almost, 2/3 population belongs to this G20 group. 80% output comes from this G20, 75% trade belongs to these 20 countries belonging to this G20. What India can do now, we are the 1/6, we are the largest population as far as any individual country is concerned. We have already overpowered China, whether it is officially announced or not, but we know it that we are number one as far as population is concerned. But if this 1.4 billion people, they join hands and they come out with a strong resolve that we are going to, make India the best, we are going to help achieve our age-old target of making Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. If we decide that we are going to transform the world, no one can stop us. 1/6 population of the world, if they are determined, they join hands, they decide to transform the world intellectually, materialistically, and of course, focus with a focus on environment. Nobody can stop us. At global level, before these SDGs, we had Millennium Development Goals, because now the whole world is realizing that, अकेला आदमी कोई काम नहीं कर सकता, अकेले से काम नहीं होगा, we have to work together. So that is why this MDG concept came in the year 2000, and in 15 years we achieved fairly good results. And encouraged by the success of Millennium Development Goals, it decided to continue with its development process by introducing Sustainable Development Goals from 2015 to 2013. And we have 17 sustainable goals, and quality education is one of the important ones. Of course, and quality education is one of the major goals which has the potentials to take care of other goals also. Poverty, if people are educated, there would not be any poverty, believe me. If people are educated, it will take care of hunger. If people are educated, it will take care of environmental issues as well. I would like to cite the example of Machako district of Kenya. Machako population was growing in typical Malthusian way, of geometrical way. Population was increasing very fast, but resources were the same. So there was an additional pressure on resources, which Kenyan government was finding it tough to handle. But then they came out with this idea that why not enlighten the minds of people, educate people, give them idea how important our environment is. This is how they started this campaign. And Machako, with increased population, proved to be a success story. Environmentally, that was one of the most, well-conserved district of Kenya that took care of its good increase in population also. So education, I believe, is the biggest instrument to empower the society, to transform the society, and it's a welcome thing that uh, we are having this G20 University Connect. Once young minds are enlightened, I'm sure our resolve will have a snowballing effect. We will reach out to each and every person, and the day is not very far when we will be able to see a better world. I'm sure SDGs will be achieved very nicely, and this kind of events are very, very reinforcing. I congratulate my team, leader Ganga Bhushanji and his team for organizing this important event here. I also express my gratitude to RIS for choosing Assam University as the platform to share this, to organize this conference. I'm thankful to my IT team, which has made arrangement for live streaming, and because a lot of students are here, this small hall could not accommodate to my students also. But this small hall could not accommodate our very, very enthusiastic students who wanted to attend this program. So our IT people have made arrangement outside also so that nobody is deprived. Inclusiveness is our mantra, right? And of course, my students, uh, your enthusiasm never allows me, an elderly person like me, to sit quietly. I feel so encouraged and motivated with your enthusiasm. So thank you so much. And I wish this conference a great success. And I hope that this conference is good. This one-day program is going to be a great success. I would like to thank uh, our chief guest, our keynote speaker, and of course Shiv Kumar ji for their very motivating presence here, and of course my brothers Pradosh ji and Ganga Bhushan ji. They're always there, and all of you are here. So our target is not only to make this program success, but G20 a great success. Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
I request to please volunteers, when the session is going on, please I request not to talk, and those who will participate and ask questions during the session, some surprises are there for you. So kindly bear with us. We can even forego our breakfast, but not the silence. So when you are asked to speak, you speak. But when somebody is speaking, please don't speak. Thank you.
So thank you, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for the inspiring words. He is always our inspiration. And particularly in front of the students, he highlighted how our sustainable developmental goals need to be achieved and how they also relate to our G20 presidency and future of not only India, future of the entire world. Now we will go ahead with our official video presentation, which we wanted to play earlier.
Home to 1.3 billion people, is a confluence of religions, traditions, and customs. Thriving global center of technology and largest democracy. As one of the oldest civilizations in the world, with a rich cultural heritage and diversity, and as the fifth largest economy in the world, India is proud to assume the presidency of G20. As the country blooms into a new era, we look to another poignant symbol for humanity to emerge victorious from challenges. National flower of India represents our history and culture and symbolizes spirituality, fruitfulness, health, and knowledge. That's the instant. inspiration for India's white, green, and blue is the national flag of India. Together of 7 continents at G20 India 2023. Sitting above the lotus is a representation of the Earth as pro-planet approach to life and theme G20 India 2023. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, One Earth, Share. G20's focus on shared global growth and being in harmony with nature. G20 India 2023. Earth, one family, one future.
Thank you. Before we now move to the keynote address by our Ambassador of India, we would like to announce the prizes of the competitions that were held earlier, and prizes will be distributed by the dignitaries present over here. So first, I'm announcing the first prizes of quiz competition. Arindam Sharma from NIT Silchar. Arindam Sharma is requested to come over the dais. If not present, then we move to first prize of photography competition. Redwan Borbhuya from MCD College, Shonai. And may I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, and Honorable Cabinet Minister, sir, to award the prize. Jointly, sir. Thank you. First prize in poster competition. Saurabh Rishi from Ashab University, Silchar. May I request Dr. Shivakumar sir and our registrar sir to hand over the prize, please. Thank you. First prize in extempore speech competition, Shagatam Rai, Assam University, Silchar. May I request our Honorable Ambassador sir and Gangabhushan sir, please, to hand over the prize. Thank you, sir. Now, second prize in quiz competition, Lucky Singh from GMCH. Second prize in photography, Pushpa Nath, West Silchar College. Second prize in poster competition, okay. So she's Pushpanath, second prize in photography competition. I would again request our registrar sir and Sivakumar sir to hand over the prize, please. Thank you. Second prize in poster competition, Riya Dotto, Assam University, Silchar. I request VC sir and Cabinet Minister sir to hand over the prize, please. Thank you. Thank you. Then second prize in extempore speech competition, Namrata Chaudhary, TBESC Kolkata. Probably absent. We will be sending the prizes by post to those who are absent. Now we are coming to third prize in quiz competition, Aroni Dipto Shami from NLU. Probably absent as well. So third prize in photography, Shirin Akhtar Lashkar from GC College, Silchar. Yes, Shirin is present over here. So I would like to request. Yes. So we have our distinguished.
I request Rahul ji and Chaudhary ji to come onto the dais. दे दीजिए. तालियों में थोड़ा कमी लग रहा है, पता नहीं क्यों. थोड़ा. अभी भी उतना अच्छा नहीं आया है. I don't know. आपका कोई कंप्लेंट है तो तालियों से पता चलता है हमें.
Sir, please hold on. Sir, please hold on just a moment. We have also another prize, which is third prize in poster competition, Rishabh Dhar from Assam University, Silchar. The middle, please. Sir, please hand over. Thank you, sir. Then third prize in extempore speech competition, Antale Mittal, NIT Silchar. Probably absent. Then we have the last prize, which is consolation prize in extempore speech competition, which goes to Subhashish Chaudhary. Thank you. So we have now reached one of the most attractive portion of today's program, that is keynote speech, which is to be delivered by His Excellency, former Ambassador of India, L. Ralteji, please.
And Mr. Chairman, the Honorable Minister of Forest, Fisheries and Excise, Government of Mizoram, Sri Parimal Ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Assam University, Professor Pant, Registrar Assam University, Dr. Pradas Nath, Professor Sugata Nath, Professor Malanki, Dr. Rahul Ranjan of RIS, and Dr. Jayanto Chaudhary from Tripura University. Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. I keep passing through Silchar. I've been doing so since 1965, but only passing through. A couple of times we shop and we do a bit of the rounds, but this is the one time that I've come with a real purpose and to speak with the people of Silchar, which is very nice. My two younger sisters studied, as the minister told me, at the Holy Cross School. So in 73, 74, 75, I used to come and drop them and take them back from hostel. So that's my other connection to Silchar. It's quite surprising that I'm here to talk to you not about Assam, Mizoram, Aizawl, Silchar, Baga, Bazar, Lailapur, and Vairengte issues. But we are going to talk about something esoteric called G20. What the hell is this G20? How does it affect your life and my life out here, 4,000 kilometers away from New Delhi? What Prime Minister Modi do in all this universal international forum talking about things that we don't really know? Sorry, can you hear me in the back? My family tells me that I speak too low in the house, and I have the mic, so I thought I was, but even then I still didn't have it in the correct position. So can you hear me now? I mean, not that I'm speaking anything too important. It's not going to affect your daily life. But the reason why the government decided to have this university connect is that it wants you to be involved in the process. This time it's only 72 universities, as your professor has said. Oh, now I'm told from 72 it's gone up to 75 universities, which is good. Hopefully next year it'll be 150 universities. But you are very lucky to be among the 75 in the country. But of course, it may be because they think that Assam University or the people around here, the Kacharis, and of course, before you, the Tripuris and the Mizoram chaps are totally illiterate. So they've chosen the illiterate to come and have this university connecting with the G20. So they want us to be involved in what they are doing, not just in Delhi, but in Reykjavik, South Pole, North Pole, USA, Russia, South Africa. I want you to know that what happens over there in Rio, what is discussed over there, it has an effect on your daily life, on what you decide, not for yourself, but for your grandchildren. Because these are issues of international importance where we, as Indians, as international people, we are also involved. What we are doing, what we do, how we do to preserve our future. We are very fortunate that this year the presidency of the G20 is being held by India. The presidency of the G20, which started way back in 1999, late, but that's how it happens in the December, November this year. You probably all have read your G20 primer. So much of what I am going to say is contained in that primer. So what I'm saying now, going to say now, is basically for those who have not read the primer, or for those who have read it but for. So that's basically address the primer, the G20 primer. So if you want not listen, go back and read the G20 primer, and you will have everything. So the G20 was originally after the Asian financial crisis in '98. So it was a forum for central bankers. In our case, we have the Reserve Bank of India and finance ministers to discuss how to avoid the kind of serious uh, Asian financial crisis that really made the world grow poorer and many countries really suffered. But what happened was that as meeting, their decisions needed to be looked at by heads of governments and heads of states. So became uh, it escalated to the level of the heads of government in 2008. Uh, Again, because that was immediately after the global financial crisis of 2007. So the finance ministers and central bankers could not fix it. So they needed the heads of government to actually come together because they needed a more stronger policy discussions at that level. So, you talk with your sister and brother, let us fix this. So you can't fix it. So sometimes you ask your mother to join and you still can't fix it. So then you have to ask your dad to come and help fix. So you have a family gathering to fix the thing. So usually when you do it as a family, it's easier to get things done. Well, but even the heads of governments, uh, it was seen were not good enough. So what has now happened? G20 is now a real hot. So it's central bank governors discussing about how to fix the financial issue, or the finance minister saying, okay, so that's the way to fix it. What are the policies? Or the heads of government coming and saying, okay, we need this at an international level, so how to cooperate, how to coordinate. So the governments alone could not do it. So the people have now been brought in. The people have been brought in through what are known as engagement groups. So there are many engagement groups under the G20, mostly NGOs, but there are also entrepreneurs, environmentalists, and other organizations such as tourism and culture institutions. Tourism people just held their group last week. Yeah, and today I think the finance group is having their second working group meeting. So it's happening. G20 is happening this year. So all this normal people are also now engaged discussing G20, how to use G20 to fix global issues, not just financial. So as I read, business people, environmentalists, right? Uh, Important people, our chief conservator of forests, Sam is here. But if to tell him to speak on how important it is to discuss forest and conservation, I think he can speak for a day and a half and still not be finished. So this non-governmental people are also now working with the government people in the G20. So why is this? Because it is felt that this way, if we have a more inclusive organization, then the governments that are involved and governments that are not even involved in G20 but follow G20 decisions will all follow the policies arrived at, because it is a policy arrived at democratically through discussions and uh, discussions by people who are involved. So this is quite good. At the moment, there are 11 of these engagement groups, and there are also civil, labor, parliament, science, supreme, audit. urban issues, women, and youth. So you guys are very much included. So if you look for the G20 youth working groups, maybe online you could find out maybe what other things that should be of interest to you under G20, and what maybe you can contribute also, our photographers and allocators. So it's diverse membership, which includes the world's leading economies from both developed and developing countries, ensure that the discussions are action-oriented, and all major international financial institutions and development bodies are permanent invitees. So although G20 is only 19 plus 21 countries, all the major bodies in the world are permanent invitees, which gives them the right to speak during the forums. They only don't have the right, but they can speak and they can put forth policy initiatives which can be discussed. So, how important is the G20? Honorable Vice Chancellor has already told you. The membership alone is 2/3 of the world's population. 75% of international trade comprise the trade between them, and 85% of the world's GDP. Uh, at the moment, they're planning to, there's talk of bringing the African Union, which is actually a permanent invitee already, to making it a permanent member. That would automatically bring in all the African countries. That means the G20 membership would increase exponentially. An interesting tool that they are dealing with. Gain in importance. When the international bodies all become quite jaded. People are, the UN Security Council has only 5 members. The world has changed since it was formed. We, as the world's most populous country, we need to be a member of the Security Council. But these guys are not readily accepting our requirement to be a part of that. So all these international bodies are becoming a little bit not so useful for everybody. So we need to change. So that's why people, when seeing how the way G20 was going, it's gained its importance. And to this end, Prime Minister Modi has stated that G20, people are looking at G20 with hope, and it will be the Indian presidency to consolidate our credentials as a global leader, but not only of the South, but also to create a more equitable and inclusive world, because that's the way we live. In any, why are we talking about G20 only now? So many years after it was formed, why are we talking about it now? That's because we are holding the presidency. And as the president of any organization, we all know that the boss is always right. Let's think he is right. So, VC Saab, when he says something, you guys will not say anything else. So you listen to him. Although you think that it's quicker to walk this way, he'll say, no, it's better to walk that way. So quicker may not be the best solution, so better will be better, so you better follow him. So anyway, so the presidency, when you are the president, you can decide आज का चर्चा में क्या discussion होगा और कौन किससे बात करेगा. So that is the importance of the presidency. You can decide the agenda. So we will not talk about, although we are all Kacharis, we will not talk about your floods. we'll talk about the floods in Himachal tomorrow. So that is what the president can say. So he sets the agenda. So it's very important. So that's where the leadership role comes in. And one a very nice aspect of this presidency thing is, or the alphabetical order of presidency is that last year the presidency was held by Indonesia. This year we are it. Next year will be Brazil. And then the year after that will be South Africa. So 4 developing countries in a row. There is a danger that the developed world may find that a little bit too tough to take, because 4 years in a row they're going to be hearing from the presidency of developing countries. But for us, what is so nice about it is that all of us have more or less similar agendas, so we can keep pushing for the same kind of things for the next 2 years are almost gone, for the next 2.5 years. So that's the important part of our presidency. So it's very important that we choose the right agenda to discuss that can really affect international livelihood. India has stated that its leadership will be governed by its view of the world, which everybody has been talking about, of one earth, one family, one future, which you all know comes from the Sanskrit ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And it will be India's efforts to convey a strong message in favor of peace and harmony. We all know how important these 2 words are for our livelihoods. Between the Mizos and the Kacharis, we have had occasional flare-ups. Somebody has an accident, we think that it was not just an accident, but something aimed at the Vai or the Mizo, and so then some gundas decide to make an issue out of it. And you and I, sitting in our homes, can no longer get our daily supply of fresh milk. And at the moment, our brethren, the Meiteis and the Kukis, are at loggerheads in Manipur. There's no peace and harmony there. So there are refugees here in Assam, there are refugees in Mizoram, and refugees. In Mizoram we have refugees from Myanmar and Bangladesh also. But the sad part is that we have refugees from our own country. So it's very sad. So we definitely need peace and harmony. So the G20 presidency presents us with an opportunity for being the voice of the. How many people understand what is the global south? How many people don't understand what is the global south? So we all know what is the global south. So when we talk of international politics, north and south, we're not talking about Uttar and Dakshin, physical. We're talking about economic development. Economically developed countries, we label as north, and economically weaker countries we label as south. So there have been various formations of the south under G77, etc., non-aligned movement, basically mostly developing countries. So G77 has been more or less losing steam. It's basically settled in the UN. So we are hoping that we can bring the global south together, because the north has been dividing us. They've been working with individual countries and telling them, just work with us. You don't need to work with your brother and sister. So you come with me and I will take care of you, kind of policies. So, but basically what we need to do is, we all need to collaborate, whether we are south-south or need to do it north, south, 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 north, north, whatever. Uh, so we hope and we try to catalyze the international community to forge more constructive and consensus-based solutions. But there are too many challenges facing the world. So we need to work more tough. Our policies need to be more tough. Sometimes individually we may feel when we are talking about global growth, climate action, stronger climate action, and health architecture. So India will try to use its influence among friends in the north to reduce areas, uh, among which the most important is nutrition and poverty. With all this, you would read about Life for Environment, Life program, program, because those are easier. Uh, During the presidency of hopes to do is, uh, you know, even just a few years ago, when there were cartoons in the New York Times about how do people get to work in India, you know, so they showed people riding on elephants and all that kind of thing. So total ignorance about other people. So we're hoping that during our presidency, we can showcase India to the world, especially as a mother of democracy. So we've been told that we're hosting 100 plus events in over 56 areas. I still remember the times when we used to host in or Commonwealth heads of state meetings just in Goa, you know, all the top spots only. But it's so nice that this year we're bringing the international meetings to places like, sorry, Silchar program, no, except in this. We in Mizoram got a program. And what was a nice thing about the program in government of Mizoram, the choice of the subject. And they chose bamboo. Uh, so they chose bamboo as a subject, and people, industrialists from all over the world came and discussed development of bamboo. So the Mizos felt really good that they were, setting the agenda for an international meeting, and hopefully maybe sometime soon, Silchar area also will get an opportunity like that. So it's a very good. It brings people together. Uh, so one important thing about international development is power. We can't do anything without power. So, but power alone is not good. So we have to have clean power. So Prime Minister unveiled when I say our, it's India. So when you talk our, are you thinking only of your family, or only of your Kachari brethren, or only of your Assami family? No, when I talk our, for me it's India. Not because I'm ambassador, I was ambassador, but because I feel that way. Just to digress, one of my junior officers, our junior colleagues, one day asked me, sir, I am deputed to so-and-so ministry. I took along with me one section officer to the ministry. And after about 2 months, my minister asked me, can you get me more officers from your ministry? Because I think I like the way they work. So he said, he asked MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, but administration told him, hey, look, it was very difficult giving you and one section officer. We can't give any more officers. We are the most short-staffed ministry in the country. So he asked me, why do you think the minister spoke like that and asked me? I told him, already, I mean, you have the All India services, you have the Central Secretariat service people. The Central Secretariat service people who work in the secretariats in New Delhi, in the different ministries, they are actually quite okay because they discuss about the things affecting the whole country in their ministries. But they mostly will be looking at only their ministry, not the whole country as such. And all these IAS people and other central service people who get deputed to the ministries as under secretary, joint secretary, and finally even secretary, they are cadred in states. Assam cadre, Orissa cadre, Tamil Nadu cadre, Maharashtra cadre. So when they come to Delhi, they're thinking of only their cadres. So they're thinking how to help my cadre state or their home state. So if it's a Mizo cadre in Maharashtra, when he goes to Delhi on deputation, he'll be thinking how to help Mizoram, how to help Maharashtra, not so much, he will make a policy for the whole country, but he will try to focus on Maharashtra and Mizoram. That's where he thinks the important lies. But for Ministry of External Affairs officers, in not just the IFS people, but even the assistants and the peons, when they are posted abroad in an embassy, in the embassy, they are only thinking about India, the whole country. So we become very much more total Indian. At the embassy, we focus on Punjabi, Mizo, Tamil, Marathi, and Assami. We are Indian. So that is probably the reason your minister wants more people from our ministry to work with him, because we look at things in a more broad uh, idea. So uh, I digressed a bit. So when we talk about our, we talk about India. So when you start thinking about our, start thinking about India, not just local. So at the Glasgow meeting in 2021, Prime Minister unveiled what we call the Panchamitra, five nectars, which will have an effect more for you, less for me, because these are things that are going to happen in the future. You better by heart this, because our commitments are non-fossil energy capacity to be 500 gigawatts by 2030. So you guys have to be producing power to that extent from non-fossil. I don't know whether you're going to get it from the sun, the wind, the waves, or whatever, or from your own running and the friction you make with your feet on the ground. So 50% of our energy will be from renewable resources by 2030. How many years is that? Less than 7 years from now. So you guys got to be really working. If we can't get 50% from renewable energy by then, and we may have to cut our non-renewable energy production. So our energy production may come down like anything. So just to buy a cake of soap in your scooty, you may think twice because the price of your petrol may be already 1,000 rupees by then per liter. So if you want to reduce that price, you guys got to be working. So, and we want to reduce our carbon emission by 1 million tons from now till 2030. Carbon intensity and its economy, our dependency to less than 45% by the same 2030. And by 2070, we want to be a net zero achiever. So 2070, hopefully some of you will reach there. And you have to think now, if you reach there, how will I reach there? Will I still have power or will I be powerless? So is there any point of reaching there? So that's why we're here, to make you think about your future. For all this, quite some years back, India and France started something called an International Solar Alliance. So far, 100 countries have joined, and we want to make it more affordable, and we want more industry to use it more widely. So we need to brainstorm, and I think that's one of the other reasons that the government decided to go all over the country, because I think they have run out of ideas in New Delhi. So they need the Mizos and the Kacharis and the Tripuris to think for them and tell them how to move forward next. So we are inviting you to think for them, to plan for them, and how to finance, where to invest, and what are the methodologies that G20 should use to improve the world. So we need to look at how we are going to survive. So one of them is lifestyle for environment, which is what we call pro-planet people, and is also to life is also to use our what we all do. Indians are kabadi walas, no? So and jugaad walas. So we keep stuff, we recycle, we reuse. In fact, I don't even throw away my old shoes because I can use the sole for plugging water leakages by cutting it around and putting it into pipes. And I use the leather for my gilly, my catapult, the leather part. So I use it for that. There's so many uses of leather. So even me, I don't know about you guys. So we want the world to also to reuse, reduce, and recycle. So you have to make choices. Another important, the most important thing, which you all hold in your hand. Oh, sorry, my phone is not here, but iPad. You're all holding your iPhones. You may leave home without your wallet, but you never leave home without your phone. No? Even if you want to leave home without your phone, your mother or your father will tell you, take your phone. Not because they want you to be able to call your friends. They want to be able to call you. They want to know where you are by following your location. Be careful. So your parents know where you are. So the most important development post-COVID is that digital transformation. We all know during COVID, you guys, if you had joined college by then, you were online. If you had a pain and you didn't have to go to hospital to get a stitch or something, you called the doctor and he diagnosed you over the phone or over the video. So we became digital. Who doesn't use Google Pay? Paytm. If I drive from here to Varengte, and I think probably if I want to buy a chicken or some sabji on the way, I can do a Google Pay with the sabji wala on the road. So that's how well digitized we are now. And that way, India is far ahead. Our transactions on digital, financial transactions using the digital media are very, very high. Uh, so uh, already 80% of Indians have bank accounts, and 460 million of those bank accounts were created using digital methods. They didn't have to fill in their forms, you know, naam, pitaji ka naam, taluk. They didn't have to do all that. They just did it over the phone. Uh, so and what is the best thing about our digital architecture is that they are all open source, so everybody can join and use them. But of course, the main challenge over there is while we want to keep it transparent and inclusive, we have to be very careful about security, data security especially. So uh, even many developed countries don't have this kind of digital transformation. So this is what we want the world to also use, because it has made life so much easier. Uh, it has reduced the amount of paper we use. There's so many consequences of digitization. And I, my doctor can discuss with specialists all over the world through using digital means. So if he has an issue. So that's what we want to pass on to the world. And of course, finance is most important. I used to be our deputy permanent representative to UN Environmental Program and UN Habitat. Well, we used to negotiate and negotiate and negotiate. North, the developed countries have the technology, but they want tons of money if they were to pass it on to us. So we would negotiate and negotiate on how to do it, technological transfer and financing. But those fellows say we spend so much money in developing them, so we also need to make money pay for that. So we say, but if you don't give us the technology, you're going to pay more because we are going to spoil the environment more. But if you give us the technology, suffer less, and we'll also suffer less, spend less, go through the same problem you went through finding the solutions. So this all, catch-22 situation. Uh, so it's still there. And so our big attempt will be how to cajole all these rich nations who actually spoil the atmosphere, who kill the environment, on how to make them pay for making their lives, not just our lives, easier in the future. So, fortunately now, God's grace, those of us in remote villages in Mizoram, also we don't produce enough food grain. There are no people who go hungry on a daily basis. So we are self-sufficient, at least we are able to feed our people. And we have found that millets, so we want to introduce millets and green fertilizers to the world also. We would like them to look at how we do this, and so, but how to go back to some amount of traditional food grain production. So, I used to work on this a lot. Sustainable Development Goals, which I think they have renamed as 17 Goals of the United Nations Agenda 2030. So these are important mainly for the least developing countries and small island developing states. There are small island developing states, including our own Maldives, who in a few years may go under the water. And Maldives is very lucky because their tourism has gone up. So per capita wise, they may be better than us. But I was in the Philippines and I was in charge of many small islands in the Pacific, or some of them are really poor. The president drives his own car. He goes fishing to earn his livelihood. So those are the people. So we need to help them a lot in sustaining their environment. So that's what we hope to be able to do to help them more closely during our presidency of the G20. And as I said, the president of any country sets the agenda. So during our presidency, we have formed a new working group on disaster risk reduction. So it's not management, careful. So the management people will come and do it after it happens. So here we are trying to do reduction. So we want to basically exchange best practices on that. So that is one of the things that you can do. Then there's the Startup 20, which is very important for young people like you. You want to have a startup, look for G20 startup. Maybe they can help you somewhere, if not by finance, but maybe by some technology support. In India, 77,000 startups have been recognized by the government since 2016. So this many working groups have met. Yeah, that's why I'm running through. So many of the working groups have had their meetings, finance, central bank people, development working group, health. Like I said, the tourism people held it last week. All might have read that some of these working group meetings could not come to a consensus. When you have 20 countries plus other bodies in your group, it's very difficult to come to a yes. We are presently discussing the marriage proposals of my daughter since about January. We still haven't come to a fixed date. We still haven't come to a place. And we still haven't decided what is going to be the order. And it's only three of us discussing. My daughter, my wife, myself. Of course, the to-be husband is also there, but he's abroad. If in almost half a year we haven't come to a conclusion, you can imagine how 20 countries plus so many bodies, you can't always come to a solution so easily. Last year in Bali, during Indonesian presidency, at the plenary heads of government, they came to a agreed statement. So everybody signed, Putin signed, Modi signed, all these other people signed, Xi Jinping signed. But this year, the finance working group, they couldn't sign, the Chinese and the Russians. I said, our people said, hey, wait, same stuff, much different from what you signed last year in Bali. I said, yeah, but circumstances have changed. The Europeans have said something in between. Situation hasn't changed, but the Europeans said something in between. So this is international negotiations. So don't think that by putting up a good thing, everybody will agree and say, ha, theek hai, wo bahut acha hai, thank you, let's go. you bring out the best thing, people will still say, oh, that fellow said something. So it's not easy. So this you guys should understand, even if we have the best thing, the world may not agree with us. So how to make the world agree with us? So it's not easy, but we shall keep trying and we shall try our best. And uh, the important thing is that we discuss our concerns with each other and discuss how best to fix them. So I would like to thank Assam University Silchar and Research Information System Delhi for inviting me to be here and letting my air out. I would like to mention the fine arrangements that have been made for me by the university coordinators and others, and the warm welcome you all have given me by smiling at some of my very poor jokes. And I'm sure my visit to Silchar after a very long time will continue to remain warm, and I will remember it all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the keynote address, which was very informative. Now, for the official vote of thanks, question answer. Very good for reminding this. So now we have the question answer session from among the students and other participants, as well as teacher dignitaries, non-teaching officials of the university. We can take questions for Honorable Ambassador to answer, please. Subhashish Chaudhary, right? Microphone, please, to Subhashish Chaudhary.
Third, we all are aware of the fact that the G20 has grown much beyond its initial point of focus of economic cooperation. However, what do you think is the role that the G20 can play in terms of global conflicts like the one in the Middle East or Eastern Europe right now? Or to be more specific, does G20 really has the right or capacity to intervene in any such conflict at all?
Sir, you want to? Okay. Okay, so two, three questions together, sir, will be answering. So we may invite more questions. Yes, please. The gentleman over there.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, all present over here. Myself, Shantanu Roy, and I am from Department of Education. So my question is that the theme of this year's G20 is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and the quotation that we got on the booklet given here is India's presidency of hope, harmony, and peace. And when the delegations of all over the world are coming officially to explore Indian democracy to highlight the hope, harmony, and peace that we want to propagate in the how India sees the violent condition of Manipur and how to deal with it, as it also gives some sort of message to the coming guests about what we try to propagate and what is happening in our own country. Thank you.
Do we have? Okay, more questions are there.
Good afternoon to everyone present here. This is Nagesh from Department of Sociology. Actually, I have two questions. The first one is, so can we discuss India's stance on trade and economic policies within the G20 countries and its impact on global economic stability and development? The second part of my question would be, India has been grappling with issues such as poverty, income inequality, and access to healthcare and education domestically. How has its participation in the G20 helped in addressing these challenges and improving the lives of its citizens in real life? Thank you.
Thank you. Your name? What was your name? Mangesh.
Mangesh.
Mangesh. Meanwhile, I think we can take one more question before Sir can answer together. Please stand up. Please stand up and tell your name and then start the question, please. Name and department you might mention.
Hello, my name is Arbugush and I am from the English department. So my question is, I want to know your opinion about something sort of. So you mentioned the global south. So my question is, can the global south truly ever unite? Because there are a lot of issues like demographic issues, and the main problem, in my opinion, is diversity. Like there are so many diverse groups. Of course, diversity is a beautiful thing, but then again, you can never satisfy every single, groups, right? So, is it possible for the global south to ever unite? And then, we hope that it will, but then again, the moment we say we hope something to happen, it becomes nearer to impossible. For example, global peace. So, my name is Kumakan Chakraborty, and so my question to you is, like you mentioned, the global north and the global south. So, can we term our country, India, still as in the global south as a under developing country, because we have. So we have developed a lot since the last many years, and in the south, there are global south. There are two big countries like China and India, and there are organizations like ASEAN and SAARC. So can we develop still consider the global south as developing in contrast to the global north? And sir, I have another question that is it possible to promote organized recycling system in the vast country like India with an immense population and growing population? And it's growing.
Yeah, this is the last question.
And I am from Sociology department. Sir, environmental protection is one of the main agenda of G20. My question is that with increasing population, we need more space. This is quite affecting the environment. So, sir, how can we protect the wildlife and the environment just like we protect ourselves? And what other measures we can take for our environment protection?
Okay, thank you. Now it's over to.
Can you hear me? I wonder wide range of questions, a wide range of subjects. Uh, First question to ask is follow G20 conflicts. As you have read, G20 basically other bodies were brought into G. At the moment, I don't think for G20 conflict resolution, but without harmony with objectives cannot even be worked towards. Definitely, yeah, since G20 is a collection of all the important countries in the world,
I mean, not to say that non-members are not important. I mean, it has a major economic, with the economic strength, both North and South members, maybe they can influence some of these countries in conflict to reduce their tensions at least. Otherwise, it's not geared towards that. And Mr. Roy wants to know about uh, with conflicts in places like Manipur, etc., who are we to talk of hope, especially peace? Very good question, because we all say, as you do, as you say, as you do. So do as you say. So can we say as we do not? Is a good question. It's more a moral issue, I guess. Uh, Unfortunately, like I said in the beginning, we have this kind of issues in the country still. We're still growing. Even brothers and sisters fight in a family. It's unfortunate. Uh, so it doesn't mean that we can't talk about peace. When you and your sister, you and your brother fight, your mother always talks about peace. No? So why not? Why can't we tell the world? If Manipur is having a problem, we can tell them about the Mizoram Peace Accord that was signed in 1986. We call ourselves the most peaceful state in the country, and we have killed how many Mizos and non-Mizos in our 12 years of insurgency. So hopefully Manipur also can come to that kind of a situation. That's what we hope, because the refugees come from that state, and we have to feed and shelter them. And we are kind of a state that is insufficient, has insufficient revenue. We depend on those from the center. So let's hope Manipur is an aberration, and Kashmir and all the kind of things are also all aberrations to our normal peaceful livelihood in the whole of the country. So that will not stop us from talking about peace, harmony. Manjit wants to know about our stand on improving the life of citizens and economic stability. Huh? Derailed economy is you put the train back on the rail, or if the rail is broken, then fix the rail. So, you know, uh, even if the father loses the job and the mother is unable to work, the family sometimes finds a way to survive. So hopefully, your question is too big to answer at this moment, because I will have to call all kinds of economic gurus to come and explain to you. uh, no, everybody thinks that what they're doing is good. So, but others think that the economy is derailed. I don't think at the moment our economy is derailed. I think our economy is doing pretty well. What do you call them? Mutual funds are doing okay. Huh? They're showing positive almost every day. And how do you improve the life of citizens? We have so many prime ministers, Roshgar Yagna, and other programs that the government comes up with from the center, from the states. Why should the government improve the life of its citizens? Why shouldn't the people, the citizens, improve their lives? Why do you keep saying government, government? Why? Government is hum.
So don't keep blaming the government, okay? I'm not admonishing you. I'm encouraging you to fight for yourself. Let us fight for ourselves, which means fighting for the country. So don't just keep blaming the government, how to. Let us tell them how to. Let us show them how to. Okay? So think about that. Thank you. Arthop Purush English Department, Global South, diversity, is it possible? We try. The person who doesn't try is a failure. So if you don't try, you are already a failure. Diversity, why? In India, because of our diversity, we have grown. Our old slogan of unity in diversity has worked. We are so diverse, that's why we have so many thoughts. We are so diverse, that's why when something fails, we have another idea to work on. So diversity is good. You know, you don't want to be like bricks on a footpath, all the same. Why you want to be like your neighbor on your left side and your right side? Don't you think you're a bit more handsome than him? You want to be like him? Diversity is good, and using the diversity to the best way can make you grow. Uh, then Chakravarti, Department of Law, North, South, India, and China. We have developed. Yes, we think we are on the north side. The north doesn't think that we are north yet. China, of course, hates being in the south. So when we had the G77 meetings also, they were not members, but they joined us for certain issues. So in certain issues, we said this is G77 plus China. But in others, they said, no, we are not in there. So we say we are only G77. G77, a group of 77 countries in the south. No? So yes, we are moving. We are hoping to cross that unseen border. We are the fifth largest economy in the world now. Yeah, in terms of that, out of 187 countries, the fifth is a very high number. But we still think mentally we are still south. We are still developing. So still so many things that are to do under the UN indices. We are still below in many areas. So we can't really call ourselves north. Therefore, we still have to lead the south because the rest of the south are very weak. And in terms of can we organize things like 3R in India? Not if you do not try. Yes, if you do. In Mizoram, we are now doing it. All the local councils are in the cities, and in the villages are village councils. Here, I don't know, you still have the panchayat system. So at the panchayat level, you open up a hut where people can bring in what they don't need to use anymore at home, and others can come and see, oh, maybe I can use this. So what you can't reuse or recycle, maybe somebody else can reuse and recycle. So if the will is there, it was done. The local council house is just next to my house in my area, my locality. Not the Aizawl city, but just my locality. The amount of stuff that collected and the amount of stuff that people took back, I was saying, "Arey, ye to, I can use this for this. I can use it for this." So whatever was left was, of course, thrown off. But before it was thrown off, so many of the items were taken to be used by other people. So, but if they come and ask you for it, you probably don't want to give them, or they feel too this thing to come and ask you for it, and you may not want to. If you see somebody wanting to use it, you say, "Oh, maybe I can use it," So you may not want to give it. But where you have that place, and you go and put it, people come and take it. So it's just a will to do it. That's why we're saying we have to introduce these kind of things. So you have to bring people to will to do it. Namanjat, well, environmental protection always includes the wildlife. Uh, so is that enough when I say when we talk about environmental protection, we also talk about wildlife protection also always. That wildlife can never be excluded from our discussions. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Those who had questions but did not ask in this short time, I think they will have a time to unofficially interact with sir while he will be here over lunch. And now I would like to invite Professor Shogotanath from the Department of English to offer the customary vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, esteemed dignitaries on and off the stage, and my dear participant friends. We have come to the fag end of the inaugural session. Of course, there are two more sessions to follow. One is a panel discussion on G20 to be followed by plenary session later today. On behalf of the organizing committee for today's program, G20 University Connect, Engaging Young Minds, I do offer my vote of thanks to all the participants and all the guests present here. The keynote speaker, Honorable former Ambassador Sri L. Ralte, especially thanked for accepting our invitation and for spending his most valuable time with us here at Assam University through delivering his special lecture titled G20 Indian Presidency. Through his lecture, he spoke on the inclusive approach that India has and the action-oriented policies that G20 has to achieve various goals. He also spoke on India's leadership in this 1 year, and he further spoke on local issues. The very important words that he used were 3 R's: reuse, reduce, and recycle. We are especially thankful to him for speaking on digital transformation, Startup 20, and for responding to the queries of our student participants. We are extremely thankful to our guest of honor, Dr. Shiv Kumar, Chief Conservator of Forests, Assam, for his kind presence in spite of his busy schedule. We are looking forward to listen to his deliberations in the next sessions. Thank you, sir, for being here. The president of today's program, inaugural program, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, our guide, Professor Rajimon Pant, has made out so much time from his extremely busy schedule to be here with us, to guide us and to speak on G20 India's presidency. Sir has spoken on One Earth, One Family, One Future, India as the golden bird, intellectually as well as materially in the old days. Sir has also spoken on the inclusivity in G20, the sustainable goals, and he has specially focused on quality education goals, and he has cited examples from Kenya. And Sir has tried to tell us that through education, a lot of problems can be eradicated, like hunger and other issues. We are thankful to Honorable Minister Sri Parimal Shuklabuddha, the chief guest of the program, who has also spoken on the roadmap of G20. Sir had to leave this session for a very important meeting. We are thankful to him for being present for the inaugural session. The registrar of this university, Dr. Pradosh Kiran Nath, deserves special thanks for delivering the welcome address and for defining the idea of G20 on India's presidency. Professor Gangabhushan, the chief person behind the program, is especially thanked by the committee for speaking on the 3 H's: healing, harmony, and hope. We are thankful to our honorable guests from Delhi and from other places of India, and also to the speakers on the next sessions. We congratulate the winners of various trophies and various events. And we congratulate all the participants also who participated at various events. We are extremely thankful to all the faculty members of the university present here. We are thankful to our IT team comprising people from mass communication department, people from computer center. We are thankful to media persons for giving a wide coverage to this one. We are thankful to our student participants for their presence and for asking important questions. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Shubhadeep Rai Chaudhary, Associate Professor of Department of Life Sciences, for conducting the program in a seamless manner. We are extremely thankful to our volunteers who have worked day and night for the last 4 or 5 days to make it a success. We also express our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all the other people who have contributed in so many different ways in making this event a great one. Thank you all.
Thank you, Professor Nath. With permission from the chair, I declare this session as over. However, the next session immediately begins, which is also going to be presided over by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. However, we are going to have a different set of experts for this panel discussion on G20 very soon. So there will be lunch break after this session. So please hold on. Now I would like to invite Professor Niranjan Rai, who is the Director, Center for Studies in Human Development, to join us on the dais as an honorable panelist for this panel discussion. And also Professor Jayanta Chaudhary from Tripura University, Agartala, to join the other dignitaries over the dais as a panelist of this session, please. You are ready?
We are running just 30 minutes late. Okay, no issue. We will cope up with the time. That can be curtailed during lunchtime. No issue.
So first I would like to request Professor Gangabhushan sir, I would like to request you to felicitate our honorable panelists. So I won't allow you to escape. So he will be felicitating Professor Niranjan Rai and also Professor Jayanta Chaudhary. By the time they are fixing the flash drive, so it will be displayed also. Thank you, sir. Now I hand. Thanks very much. Now I hand it over to Professor Gangabhushan sir to conduct the proceedings of this session, please.
Okay. Just now we felicitated Dr. Jayanta Chaudhary ji. He is again a very key person to organize this program. Can we have a round of applause? We, we would like to welcome our chairperson of this panel discussion, along with the three important dignitaries. They will be speaking on the topics given. So one is Professor Niranjan Roy sir, then Shiv Kumar sir, and Jayanto sir. We can have one round of applause for them to begin. I just said that no, clapping is a kind of showing respect to our dignitaries. तो उसमें कंजूसी मत कीजिए, please. Oh, okay. I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir to take over and chair the session. Thank you, sir. Over to President sir.
Thank you, Professor Gangabhushan ji. Now we are to start our panel discussion, and we have three very distinguished personalities present here. Professor Niranjan Roy ji, an eminent economist of the region. We have Dr. Sivakumar ji. I don't think we'll find a better person to talk about environment better than him. And then third, we have Professor Jayanta Chaudhary ji. He has a very vast experience of working at grassroots level in rural development area. So I extend a warm welcome to all these three panelists. And Professor Niranjan Roy ji will dwell on India's demographic dividend, unlocking G20 advantage. We all know that India is a young country. India is a country of youth, and the whole world is looking up to us. And we also look up to our youth for this youth dividend. Dr. Shiv Kumarji will be again relying heavily on youth, and his topic is youth responsiveness, environmental activism. Of course, the youth are the future of a country, and if environment is to be conserved, then your participation is very, very important. And then Professor Jayanta Chaudhary, localizing G20 initiative. We talk about globalization, we talk about achieving SDGs and G20 initiatives, but unless and until it comes down at the grassroots level, we'll not be able to achieve our targets. So I'll like to invite Professor Niranjan Roy first to dwell on the topic, India's demographic dividend, unlocking G20 advantages. Over to Professor Niranjan Roy ji.
So, respected chairperson of this session, my two respected co-panelists, Dr. Shiv Kumarji and my colleagues from Tripura University, Dr. Jayanto. So my and respected delegates from different departments. And while talking about this demographic dividend, this is the perfect example, this hall. We could see 90% of the population below 25. 90% of the population below 25. I think this is what is we are going to speak another 10 minutes time. So G20, we know about that it is one of the most powerful fora in the world now. It consists of about 90% of world GDP, 80% of global trade, and two-thirds of global population. These are the three important indicators of the powerful entity of G20 group, 90% GDP, 80% global trade, and two-thirds of world population. Now, while talking about population, we know that there was economist Malthus in 1798. He has given a theory about the geometrical progression of population growth versus arithmetic progression of food supply. And that was the starting point of debate between population, whether it is a curse or an asset. And in 1901, Bosrav, another economist, he actually opposed Malthus' view. And his contention was that basically agricultural intensification of growth, agricultural production by using technology. And later on, many economists say Schultz, Arthur Schultz also tried to intensify agricultural growth so that the growth of population can be balanced with the growth of food supply. Now, having said that, please go to next slide. There are 5 stages of demographic transition. Now, the first stage is high stationary, high birth rate, high death rate, and population remains stationary. Stationary population, because whatever you have high birth, it will be disseminated, balanced by the high death rate. And India situation, if you look at from the census data 1920, up to 1920, India's situation was like this, high birth rate and high death rate, but population becomes stationary because the replacement level equates with the birth rate. The stage 2, early expanding, death rate started declining and birth rate remains unchanged. And if we look at India's situation after 1950s, basically with the intervention of health expenditure, with the intervention of the health schemes, our death rate started declining, but birth rate remains the same, higher. So it resulted in high rate of growth of population. And stage 3 is late expanding. If you look at in the stage 3, death rate still declines, birth rate tends to fall marginally, and birth exceeds death, and population continues to grow. And what is the current situation in India, which is, demographic dividend? I'm coming to that particular context, demographic dividend, that India has entered that third stage of demographic transition. Fourth stage, population growth starts level off, low birth rate, low death rate, population stationary. And many countries in the industrialized world, Sweden, Denmark, Belgium, they have entered that particular stage. And the fifth stage, decline, population declines, birth rate is lower, and then the death rate. And if you look at the Germany, situation of current Germany, many East European countries, they have entered that particular stage, aging society. In fact, from stage 4, actually any country started entering into the aging category. So please go to next slide. Now, if you look at that picture, we are fortunate that very recently we have crossed China. And we have crossed China by only 1 percentile. 17.8 our population share in the world's population share, and China's 17.7. Now, as you know, in the global economic uh, trajectory, India, China, if you go back to 1990, both were at the same level of economic development. But within a course of 1 decade or so, China surpassed India to a many extent. And now China is a competitor for us in the world economic development trajectory. Now, please go to next slide. If you look at that slide, it speaks the interesting fact that in this 17% population share between India and China, China's actually 65 plus population is more than that of India. And if you look at our population advantage, 15 to 60 years, India's population percentage is more than that of China. And 0 to 14 years, India's population share is also higher than China. So that is a very important fact that India emerges into a different trajectory in demographic profile, which is called demographic dividend. Please go to next slide. And demographic dividend is nothing but the accelerated economic development of a country, and which resulted from a decline in both mortality and fertility. That is a very important economic growth backed by both decline in mortality and fertility with a subsequent changes in the age structure of the population. So India's this demographic dividend phase, which is having again 3 important contexts. Please go to next slide. First is that baby boomers, which creates a large army of income earners. So the dependency rate improves, and which resulted in the increase in the GDP of the country. Second stage of demographic dividend, improved health increases our life expectancy in the country. If you look at India's life expectancy improved a lot, and saving increases, and which again further increases in investment and GDP growth. And the third stage of demographic dividend, which start disappearing, and baby boomers become baby busters. So this baby bust phase has actually imminent in the third stage, which many countries in the world, they are now facing that particular stage. Say, for example, China. China is which we can make a comparison between India and China in this particular context. So please go to next slide. The median age in India is 28 years. This is the data, yesterday's data. I was just checking data from the world data.info, the July 23rd, yesterday. India's this median age comes to 28.7, and that is one of the very, very important context for entire G20 grouping. And this 28.7 median age, and if you look at India's young population is around 74, 75 crores, which is equivalent to 2 United States population. And these are the assets of our country. And please go to next slide, where we have a large proportion, 34.8% of population under below 20 years, and life expectancy of India has increased to 67.3%. Now here I want to share one information. If you look at the life expectancy of developed countries of the world, it is touching around 85 to 86 years average. Now that means India has more opportunity to increase the life expectancy from 67 to 90 years. So that is the India's scenario, that how India will, travel into this trajectory of reaching higher life expectancy over the next 30 years, 30 to 40 years time. Please go to next slide. If you look at this particular slide, you will find this demographic dividend which India is experiencing now. It will and it will go to third stage of demographic dividend in 2060. That means 2024, 23rd to 2060. This is the period, the entire period we have where India can possess more potentiality for for potentially skilling our youth during the next 4 decades time. So that is the most important strong points of India, and whereby we have the critical challenge given by the skilling and human capital formation. And in this particular context, please go to next slide, the G20, how G20 play a very important role in this particular transition phase, because we are in the transition phase. And in this transition phase, the G20, we know that there is a Y20. Y20 is a forum, which is an official forum, and which is an engagement group of G20. And this Y20 engagement group, it is given the, given the work for framing the agenda for the future, and whereby the nation can frame ideas for better tomorrow. And India has, as the one of the, youngest population in the world, as 75, 76 crores of population, those who are young population. And our initiative, which will be very important in the context of these important areas, future work, Industry 4.04, Industry 4th Revolution, digitalization is one of the very important context here. Peace building and reconciliation in the era of no war, the message that G20 is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So that in that particular context, peace building is a very important context. Climate change, disaster risks reduction, shared future, youth in democracy and governance, health, well-being, sports agenda. All these. Please go to next slide. Next slide. Yeah. So all these actually is a very, very important context for our G20, whereby the countries, as our keynote speaker has highlighted about India's presidency, and whereby the underdeveloped countries has taken the lead in this transition process. If you look at G20, the past president, the future president, the Troika forms three important, underdeveloped countries. So underdeveloped countries are now taking the lead in sustaining the world, in sustaining the global world, and whereby the underdeveloped countries will have to steer the future prospect of sustainable development of this world. So improving human capital, skilling, health and education, creating jobs, promoting growth of labor, providing necessary policy support, innovation, infrastructure, all these are the agenda which will be placed before the G20. The G20 actually mainly focused on the finance part, as our keynote speaker has also highlighted about that particular context. But given the wide spectrum of openness, because it is open-ended, options are there. In the open-ended options, all these issues will be discussed in the G20 forum, and whereby India's prominence as the president of G20 and India has already shown. Please go to next slide. If you look at that, India has Indian way of empowering youth. If you look at Skill India initiative, India has already taken the mission. Digital India initiative, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, NEP 2020, which is a very, very important historical document, National Education Policy. As part of National Education Policy, the NCERT has come up with National Curriculum Framework for School Education. Already it is, announced few days back. So with this, India is looking forward building 21st century skills, encouraging entrepreneurship and digital infrastructure. And these are the very important, context where India will definitely give more emphasis on the development or empowering our youth. Please go to next slide. Uh, I'll take, sir, another 2 or 3 minutes. I know the time constraint. So this particular issue is one of the very important. If you look at India's growth trajectory for the last 75 years, our average growth, if you take, it is around 5.5% till date. Average is around 5.5%. Now, out of this, if we disaggregate the growth, GDP growth of 5.5%, 2.8% comes from our capital. 1.7% comes from total factor productivity. And 1.7% comes from labor. And this is the area where we are actually lacking. Our skill is compared to China, if we compare again China again and again, because in the next 20 or 30 years, the main competitor for India will be China. And because India will become a second largest economy by 2050. So we have to compete with China. If you look at the China's, same disaggregated data, you will find China's labor productivity is much, much higher. But our labor productivity is only 1.75%, 7%. So that actually shows India's less emphasis on skill formation. Our labor productivity is very less compared to the global standard. And whereby this is the area we have to focus on that and we have to work on that so that our productivity can be increased, labor productivity can be increased, and skill formation is one of the key aspect in this entire process. And India is not a new one, it is a legacy. If you look at India's growth trajectory since even zero circa from 180, if you look at Angus Madison's estimate, India's per capita income, India's global GDP share was 25% at one point of time. Up to 1820, India was one of the richest economy in the world. And that is shown by the global GDP data, which is a OECD project, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development project. And that part of that project, what we came to know that up to 1820, India's prominence in the world economy was 25%, and which drastically started declining after the colonial intervention, after British entered India. And interestingly, from that time, 1820s, Britain's share of world GDP started increasing. And sorry, India's share started declining. So, sorry. So India's loss, sir, okay, thank you. So India's loss at the expense of, India's loss leads to the British gain. And we know that we are talking of today about trillion economy. World economy is about 89 to 90 trillion economy, world economy. America's United States share is 29 trillion economy. China's share is around 18 point something, 19 trillion economy. India's share is 3 trillion economy. And you know that time, after 1820s till independence, UK looted 45 trillion from India. UK looted 45 trillion of asset from India to British. And that was a black spot in India's economy that India took after independence 75 years time to revert back to that path of legacy that India was. And India is now one of the fastest growing economy. If you look at, please go to next slide. If you look at that particular data, India will become the third largest economy by 2032 and second largest economy next to China by 2050. So that is what is India. If you go to next slide, so India is a rising star, one of the bright star in the global economic scenario. And if you look at by any indicator, go to next slide, by Bloomberg, this data shows that India's recession probabilities, if you look at this from this year onwards, is very, very low compared to all the developed countries of the world. Please go to next slide. The world in 2050, it says India will be the second largest economy in terms of GDP share. And not only that, please go to next slide. India's, preparedness in green tech transition. There were discussion about our keynote speaker has given the highlight about Glasgow summit. Our Prime Minister has given the commitment by 2070 we will be net zero carbon by 2070. That is a kind of commitment that India has given to the Glasgow summit, and that started. Sir, we'll start. So with this, I have come to the end of this particular presentation on demographic dividend. But the challenges is that India will have to focus more and more on skill formation, and that is the only aspect that without skilling, without the employability, because the National Achievement Survey says our 55% of class 8 student is unable to read class 5 textbook, and 50% of class 5 students unable to read class 3 textbook. So here lies the role of the skill formation and the employability and the role of education. And with this, I'm sure that with this journey with G20, India will become one of the brightest star in the world in future. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Devendra Roy, for enlightening us. And India is all set to have this democratic dividend. We all economic students are always scared of Malthusian apprehension that paying and resources remain the same. However, positive picture, quality education can definitely counter Malthusian apprehension. Thank you very much, and we'll have question answer. Now I'll request Dr. Sati for very important for our youth, and he has done an environment, and he's going to talk about youth responsiveness, environmental activism. So you
Respected resource persons, HODs, professors, associate professors, and dear students, friends, and media personnel. In the inaugural part, our ministers appreciated our work of Kaziranga National Park. Yes, in my career, it's a rememberable period. I'm from Tamil Nadu. I joined this cadre in 2002.
I'm from the 2000 batch of Indian Forest Service. During my OJA, we received appreciation from the World Bank for the community-oriented projects, which was declared as the best among 32 countries where the World Bank was funding. Then during my DFO tenure, we have created our country's biggest arboretum. That is a collection of 166 tree species. In every species, there are 254 trees. It's a gem blossom collection. Like in Kaziranga, we are having a conservation model for animal species. And in Big Boy, we want to have a conservation model for all our plant species of Northeast. So that's a model. Then during my Nagaon wildlife period, we introduced rhino from Kaziranga to Lauka Borchapuri under Indian Rhino Vision 2020. Then during my conservator period, we revived rare, endangered and threatened species of North Benga Brahmaputra. So for that, we received Karmashri Award, that's Assam Chief Minister's Award for outstanding contributions. Then Kaziranga postings. During the Kaziranga posting, yes, we reduced the poaching. So it's not an effort of me. It's basically teamwork. So credit goes to the whole team. But yes, we did some changes, mainly that we ensured that the Kaziranga is the property of the community, not the forest department. So we know that the forest department name is Environment Forest Department Climate Change. We are only the managers. We are not the owner. The owner is the community. So that is the issues, because we are still having the hangover because we have taken over the department from the British. So whatever the British did, so still a little bit of that British rule is still continuing in the forest department. So how this transformation took place from our traditional forest management to community forest management. And now the topic is environmental activism. So I'm not expecting that after the presentation that we will come then dharna sur karne ke liye. It's not like that. So you should know that what type of resource at your disposal, because that the resource, which next slide, sir. Some overlapping. Yeah, next. About that, the forest management is basically two types. Originally, during the British period, is a traditional forest management. Everything by the forest department. We won't allow the villagers or community to enter into the natural resources. It's like if you say that the hall is the forest, so the villager is not allowed to enter. They may be the villager, that may be the property. We know that before the British period, the whole forest was under the control of the king. And before that, it's basically the property of the community only. The later the king tried to control the resources, then by the Britisher, and again now by the forest department. So now we can say that, okay, now it's the independent India, can't we give back our resources totally to the community? But there are issues because change in community. No doubt, the community fight for their rights, but now lack of awareness, again, some community also putting threat to the resources. And you being the young generations, and you know that our Honorable Prime Minister target is by 2070, the India should be a carbon neutral. So it means that it's not like that, okay, tomorrow onward I'm going by cycle means my problem is solved. So it's a big opportunity otherwise also, because we know that the carbon market is a huge market. Every tree you are planting, if you can retain it for 15 years, for every year it's like a fixed deposit. We can make money out of that. And the developed countries, they are producing carbon dioxide. And we being the developing country, our country is basically a rural economy, the huge community at our disposal. If we can motivate them, we can contribute to the whole world in global economy in the name of tree economy. So that is the things I want to emphasize. Because just simply concentrating on the urban area, we cannot meet up the world demand. We have to take our rural side also along with our motto. Because why I am telling that, during 2018-19 and 19-20, we spent almost 40,000 crore of our money to import timber from other countries. If we are buying airplane to meet our defense requirement, it's okay, we don't have a technology we need. But if you are going to buy timber also, it means that we are known to buying the things only. So this is the time that we have to change from buying to selling. Or otherwise all our money will go away. By simply buying also, we are going to bring our economy to down. So my request is that as you are from the rural area, I want to show some example why this transformation has taken place in the forest department from the traditional forest management to the community-based forest management. Now the community forest management at your disposal. And if we couldn't make money out of that, then there is no scope for the communities. Yeah, next slide. The best example is Kejrali incidents. You might have studied in higher secondary, where 363 people have died just to protect the trees. We know that we have lost a lot of lives just for our freedom movement that started in almost 175 years back. But if you see the freedom movement for to protect our environment forest started almost 300 years back. But we didn't pay attention on this part. Next slide. This about the Chu rebellions, about the colonial administrations where the British tried to control over our resources. Next slide. Then the Crown Act, Indian Forest Act. Next. This Birsa movement. This I want to highlight. Birsa movement is born in 1875. He died in 1900. Only 25 years. But his contributions, today we are talking about him. He started his movement at the age of 19 years. Because when the British tried to control over the total resources, then he opposed. It was a famous movement, Birsa movement, and he died in the prisons. But whatever the initiative was taken, the outcome is 1908, we got this Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act, where the government decided that no more conversion of tribal land into a non-tribal. The first move. Next slide. Then about the national forest policy. Lot of oppositions against the Britishers because they want to control over the total resources. Because we know about that that Britishers should go away, we want to rule the country. What is happening in the rural area? We didn't pay the attention. Then the British government decided that the whole, like if this is a room, we will divide it into 4 blocks. Whichever the unproductive area, that will be allowed to the villagers, but the remaining area, that will be under the control of the government. No villagers can hinder, no villagers can oppose why you are felling a tree. They say that this is the tree belongs to the government. And the villagers say that this trees belongs to the community. So this was the conflict. Next slide. Then the government constituted the Forest Grievances Committee, how to sort out the issues. Next. Then some of the villages in Orissa and in Maharashtra, they say that we don't want the government support. We'll create our own forest. We will produce our green economy. Those years. Next. Then after independence, as during the British period also we had a policy. As we got the independence, we also should have the policy. But again, we forgot to take care of the rural economy. We say that we will have a national forest because we need money to run the government. We can fell the forest. And you might have heard about the Chipko movement. The outcome, the reason for the Chipko movement is 1952 forest policy. So everywhere the community was fighting to get the resources. So when we have to say that we have to grow in tree economy, then we should know what are the problems faced by the villagers. Without taking the villagers into confidence, we cannot achieve. Next. Chipko movement, everyone knows that we should not fell the tree. So one way say that I am in support and I am against also. If you say that in 70, yes, I am in support of Chipko movement. In this era, we cannot because we are spending thousands of crores of money to other country to get the timber. So our concept should, this is the time that we should, that all our natural forests should be protected. Our degraded area or farm forestry, we should promote farm forestry. We should try to reduce our timber import. So in that way that our money will be invested in our land itself. Otherwise 40,000 in 2 years is a huge amount for a country like India where we need a huge money for our rural development. So this is a huge potential. So now the government of Assam is moving towards the tree economy. Okay, let me conserve all our national natural forest protected area, no felling operation in such area. But in case of degraded area or the village area, we will give money to the villager, let them to raise the plantation, and we will buy the timber from the other villager, not from the other country. So this is the changes we are making. Next, just previous slide. And you can see the tree war. So this is also in Bihar area. The government tried to change the forest types by planting teak tree in sal forest because we know that more economy into that. Then the villagers said that no, sal is the species of this area, we won't allow. So that was the fight between the government and the villagers. Finally, sal retained. Next. This Sukmajori models about the water conservation, we know that in present era, Assam is known for high rainfall, and again during the dry season in Guwahati we are having a drinking water problems. So the reason is that in the previous slides you heard about the tree war, and now the same war is going on underground for the water table. If I'm having the money, if I can put the tube well for 500 feet and next one will put for 600 feet, and I don't know how long we are going into. So in that way, we are basically depleting our groundwater table, and we are not ready to take care of our resources properly. When you say that environmental activism, it's not about only dharna. We have to create environmentally conscious citizens. Otherwise, in future, everywhere you will have a drinking water problem. Like in South Africa, in Cape Town, it's a huge drinking water issues. Now in Delhi, you know that flood. During COVID season only, we know that how to wear mask. But Delhi society, they only taught us how to wear mask. Because it's a poor management of our environment. We fail to take care of our environment. Next slide. Then 1976 national commissions, because of this commission only, now we are having an independent ministry. Before that, we don't have a ministry called Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Now we are having an independent ministry and department. Next. Then this Arabari model, West Bengal. So they are the leader in community forest management. Then they decided that it's very difficult to regenerate the forest without involving the communities. So we realized almost after 200 years. During the British period, what we did, we simply harvest the forest. We didn't regenerate the forest. So in the name of harvesting, we say that is called scientific forest management. So without involving the fringe community, you cannot regenerate the forest. So then finally we decided that we should involve the villagers in our forest management. So then this is the Arabari model. Then next slide. Based on the Arabari model, then Government of India has come up with a third policy that communities should be involved in all forest management practices. And whatever the revenue we are generating, it should be shared with the community. The first revenue sharing mechanism started 1988 only. So even though we got independence in 1947, even though the fight started in 1730, but finally they got the rights to get the benefit from the forest area. That is in 1988 only. Yeah, next. So these are some of the guidelines about the benefit sharing. Then when even got benefit sharing mechanism also, then the total community was controlled by the male member. Then another environmental activism from the female side, that we also should get the equal representation. Then that 1/3, 50-50 in general body, all these things are come out after this only, please. Next. Next. So if you see the post-Chipko movement, what are the things happened? You can say that a lot of our national park wildlife sanctuary has come up. If you see that we are the rhino nation, we are the tiger nation, and we are the Gajraj nation. So we are having 3,000 plus our tigers, around 3,000 rhinos, around 25,000 elephants. We know that we are the huge population, highly populated country, but within that, we are also the leader in conserving our nature resources. But now this is the time, made it to all the young friends. If you think that I'm not interested to join forest service, or any all India service or central service, but still I want to contribute on the green economy. I want to play a role in the policy level of the government of India. Now there are a lot of scope. Like after 20 years of service of all India service, central service, we used to empanel into a joint secretary. Now the government has given the lateral entry. So whoever is the domain expert, if you are a domain expert in tree economy, you can directly become a joint secretary. So you no need to appear into that preliminary main, all those exams, then again to put your 20 years of service. But you have to prove your worthiness. So there are a lot of opportunities. So our aim is that 2070 carbon neutral. So we should go for a large scale afforestation, and we should go for large scale felling also. Conservation in the natural forest, protected area, harvesting in the farmland area to meet our demand. And this is the time that we should go to how to market the carbon economy, because 15 trees, 15 years, if we can have a locking period, that will give the money to the rural economy. So we can get that money from the developed countries. So a lot of negotiations, bargaining is going on, and we hope that if we can take care of our green cover not only meet our ecosystem service, that will bring the huge money also. Thank you.
Thank you, for enlightening young minds, and it is very, very important that we take good care of nature. If we, you very nicely pointed out different models that have successfully scripted, that have been instrumental in successfully scripting some good success stories. And you mentioned that we are, and because of the concerted efforts, because of participative efforts, we have acquired the status of the Gajaraj nation, Rhino nation, Tiger nation, and of course, now the way things are moving at a very fast pace, we soon will become Cheetah nation also, and literally some cheetahs have been arrived in India. Thank you very much, and of course, we'll have questions at the end. And now it's time that I invite Professor Jayanta Chaudhary, very well-known personality as far as localizing G20, localization of SDG. I know his potentials as a person who took SDGs to the grassroots level, and today he's talking about localizing G20 initiatives. He has long experience of working with rural development sector. So now I invite Dr. Chaudhary to please come on.
Hello. Good afternoon. It's a very tough time. I am the main culprit between you and lunch. Okay. So it's very difficult. But what to do? As per the schedule, I have to take some role, and I am taking care of that. If you see this G20, the first inaugural session, lot of discussion happened on the G20. What is the meaning, and particularly the keynote speaker, he has discussed a length on this, the G20 issues and other things. No doubt about that. But let us make something on the localization of G20. What does it mean by localization of G20, right? So I am the man of rural development, but I am fortunate enough that being a person in the rural development, I am associated with RIS also. You know that RIS? RIS is Research and Information System for Developing Countries, which is the main think tank for the Government of India, Ministry of External Affairs, who is to do a lot of work on the policy level. And we are very happy and very fortunate enough that RIS Director General, the present Director General Sachin Chaturvedi, who has a very keen interest for the Northeast India. So different way he is trying to pull that. And this is the 8th program on G20. We started with IIT Guwahati, and this is the last one in the Assam University. And I'm very happy that my ex-boss, I can say that he was the director of National Institute of Rural Development. I was the associate professor there. And again, we are ending here. But another good thing is that, again, that this 75 university, which was identified by the Ministry of External Affairs, now it's supposed to be another 25 added, right? And again, I am trying to bargain that why not more university to be in the Northeast India. Why I am doing so? Because there is another logo, it's called Netra, you know, Netra. It's a Northeast Training Research and Advocacy Foundation. And I am proud that I am founder and the Secretary General right now. This is a network between the academician in the northeastern states and also the young scholar. We have Northeast RIS Netro Academic Forum, and we have RIS Netro Young Scholar Forum. Last year, as I was mentioning, last year we did number of program on localization of SDG, all the things. And this year we have taken the theme again, how the G20 can be in the localization. So the word localization, what does it mean by localization a little bit, and how you can play the role? Because all the time we are discussing what government should do, and it is coming, we are coming to you, what you can do and what we can do together, right? If you go through that localization, that word is very simple. Localization is that everything, the globalization is talking about the G20, the assembly of 20 big economic countries, basically, even the group of economic countries, the highest proportionate of GDP altogether. That's why it's a G20. But recently, the advocacy is going on how the Africa can be also part of this. So there are a lot of demand. Now G20, maybe the G21 also. But they are trying to bring in this back, even, and a lot of working paper is going on. RIS is also developing on those, how even India government is also trying to tell how those countries, African countries, they should not be left out. Even the SDG goal, you know, that no one should left behind. And we are talking of the inclusive development. I am very happy that today that Assam University and the organizer, they have brought that one stall that is by the person with disabilities. This is very important when you are talking about the G20. It is not only the financial matter, only the diplomatic matter. The G20 becomes the localization when it reached to this Assam, when it reached to the Silchar, right? This is important. So G20 earlier there was a lot of things, but under the presidency of India, the G20 became localization properly, right? Lot of local issues are being discussed here, and not only the local issues, even everywhere we are coming on the local theme. As our ambassador was talking about the Mizoram, they have chosen the theme of bamboo, right? Which is a very very important for which is called the green gold in the northeast perspective in terms of economy or even the grassroots level also the local economy. So as a result, localization is that how you can bring the local things. It may be local product, local culture, local thought, local intellectual, local issues in the global level. Earlier, these things was only in the diplomatic level. Even the Bali, Indonesia, last year it happened at all the diplomatic level. But this year, it came to India. India is taking very big lead on this. All the departments are involved. Even sometimes we are confused which department is running which activities under G20. But it is true that all the departments, even if you go to even the Gram Panchayat, in the village also, now people are acquainted with this term G20, right? So this is the beauty of the India presidency, what India did. Most probably this is the milestone what India already produced. And next presidency will be in the Brazil. And this G20 University Connect program, there is a national steering committee under the RIS and Ministry of External Affairs, UGC and other. And I am one of the member of this G20 steering committee from the Northeast India. And we are conducting this program. Now, coming back to that, what can be your role? What can be all together we can think? If you even consider that each and every state, why Silchar is so important, right? Silchar, every place, starting from the Guwahati, Agartala, Manipur, Mizoram, all together is a center point. We are discussing yesterday also. It's a very strategically very important place. The Silchar is very, very important place. So that's why this location, the Silchar itself is making the things of how all the states are putting together, and how the issues related to Silchar can be brought to the G20, or rather in other way, how the G20 issues can be brought to the Silchar, right? These two-way things are there. So a lot of issues like what we are talking about. Have you gone through that website of G20? Have you gone through? Please, you have the mobile. Please use for a moment g20.org, right? Please open. I'm allowing that mobile should be open because now we can't avoid this. So g20.org. And there, if you can go through that, there are several streams also, as our ambassador was mentioning, on those things that these are available on the internet. So all this issue like agriculture, starting from the digital economy, starting from the startup, these are the groups are there, but even the tourism, trade, all are related to this local issues. So how we can brought these local issues in the mainstream? Like that efforts are going on that northeastern states. When we are talking about the northeastern states, again the northeastern state is different from the other places because we have the neighboring countries. We have Bangladesh, we have Myanmar, we have Nepal, we have Bhutan, and also of course China. So all 5 states countries are surrounded in the northeast. So when we are talking about the northeast, it is not only the northeast. We are talking about countries. That's why this is important. The problem of Myanmar, we have to suffer. The problem issues happening to the Bangladesh, we have to suffer in the either Assam, either still the conflict is going on, right? Even the Manipur issues, our student already pointed out the Manipur. And if you see the government statement, that they are talking about that there is some influx from the other countries, maybe the Myanmar and other. So Northeast, if you think only for the Northeast India, it is not the Northeast India. You have to think for the other countries. That's why the G20 is so much important. Because it is a different countries, negotiation is required. It is required a lot of dialogues on these things. Otherwise, it is not possible. Similarly, if we are talking about that, that is also RIS has another thing is called the Forum for India Development Cooperation. You know, FIDC. Again, I am the one of the board of director for this. And the Forum for India Development Cooperation, we are talking so many things about the development cooperation between these countries. Say, for example, Bangladesh. Bangladesh is for Tripura, as you see that Tripura is a very small state within the Bangladesh. So if you are talking about the trade, if you are talking about the transport, you are talking about the culture, you are talking about other issues, even the terrorism and trafficking and other. There is a national news also that it become the hub of human trafficking. Similarly, lot of people from the this Nepal and Bhutan, they are coming traffic and going to the Kolkata and other. That's why when we are talking about the Northeast India, those issues you can't avoid. And the solution also you have to consider when you are making some plan, you have to consider other countries also. That's why uh, in Tripura, when there is a problem in the energy, this is also another challenge in northeastern India. So energy, uh, the Bangladesh port, you know, Chittagong port. The Chittagong port help us to develop the Palatana in our Tripura. And as a result, they are also getting electricity. Now the Chief Minister of Assam is also looking for the electricity from the Palatana. So that is one of the classic example of the development cooperation, how the development cooperation. So it is not the time of fighting each other, rather cooperation among each other. Even the northeastern state also, we have to not think only the Tripura, Assam, Mizoram and other. This is rather a region where together we have to plan. If you have to making a circuit of the tourism circuit, not only the tourism in Assam, not only tourism in Meghalaya. Now the efforts is going on how the Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan and this corridor can be either roadway and this. And I will be happy to inform you in the coming month in the August, there is a conference supposed to be done by RIS and Netro again together, the connectivity between the BIMSTEC country. You are aware about the BIMSTEC country? BIMSTEC country? I am sure you should aware about the BIMSTEC countries is basically Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, India, Thailand, Myanmar together. Okay, so this is the Bay of Bengal corridor, avoiding the Sri Lanka and Pakistan, Afghanistan and Pakistan in the SAARC country. So BIMSTEC is very important for the northeastern states. So the one connectivity seminar will be in the Agartala, and who are working the faculties, even I am calling the faculties who are the working in this field of connectivity, both mainland connectivity, Maryland connectivity and Maryland economy. You are most welcome. Please give me your name. I will invite you to Agartala next month in August. So it is an open invitation to all of you. Second thing is that the young scholar who are working their PhD, I will rather invite you to join our RIS Netro Young Scholar Forum. We want your thesis should be in the international level, right? International level in that sense, the topic you are talking is must be related with the international issues like different SDGs and other. Last year we did one capacity building program for the selected young scholar to the Delhi, and we made the training program for that. This year also we are inviting young scholar. It will be in the November, maybe USTM. So young scholar from Assam University, I am inviting you to join with us for how your PhD thesis or research can be linked with the global issues, right? So this together we are working. That's why I'm telling you, it is not the issues of G20, how you can think of the G20 and the local issues, or how the local issues can be part of the G20 or the global issues. And together we can do that. With this, we wish all of you to join us and RIS effort to the Northeast India, and I'm sure you will be immensely benefited. All together, we can make a beautiful Northeast India. Thank you very much.
All three panelists who have enlightened all of us. time you can, satisfy your. And very quickly, I'll just say 1 minute, I'll summarize it and then we'll break for lunch. Talked about youth dividend, talked about GDP, we talked about our strengths, and India is all set to enter into it, but still a long way to go. To be a developed, our GDP per capita 10 times. Right now, our GDP per capita is around $2,000, and to be into the category of developed nations, we'll have to increase it by 10 times, means $20,000. So, but our population is our strength. If each one of us, multiply our efforts in the direction of making our nation a great nation, we'll be able to achieve that. Dr. Shiv Kumar ji talked about community participation. He also discussed some historical aspects. He discussed different models, starting from Birsa Munda ji, Bhagwan Birsa Munda ji. I had the opportunity to be in Ranchi and got to know some about his, pioneering work. And he discussed many other models. And of course, these have been able to script many success stories. And we again repeat that nature doesn't have its favorite. If we destroy nature, nature will destroy us. And without proper conservation, howsoever we may achieve many materialistic gains, we may enter into the orbit of developed nations, but that development will not be a sustainable one if we do not care for nature. So that's a very, very important thing. And thank you very much for enlightening us on this. And Dr. Jayanta, who has been the founder of Netra Foundation, definitely deliberated. He gave us some very opening, details. And unless and until our interventions reach at grassroots level, will not be able to, achieve our targets. So our three panelists, they made things explicitly clear, doesn't basically create any confusions, doesn't, I think, raise any queries, I think. But still, if you have any questions, you can discuss with our panelists during your lunch time. I can see Kunalji waiting outside for serving you lunch, right? So thank you very much, and I thank all of you for being, so patient, and house remained full right from beginning till the end of this. I'm sure our green volunteers are sitting here. Hello. I'm sure you are quite motivated with the presence of our real life hero, Dr. Shiv Sankarji. So thank you all, and I take uh, pleasure in thanking all of you, senior people also sitting here. And now Dr. Ravi Kananji is also here. He would be addressing you in the second in the afternoon sessions. So thank you very much, and I request you all to join for lunch. Of course, he is there to deliver formal vote of thanks. So thank you.
No formal vote of thanks, sir. Thank you. Just a small announcement. A lunch for the dignitaries and faculty members and non-teaching officials are just outside this hall, whereas lunch for all the participants are arranged over here in order to save time and save movement, so that we start the next session very quickly. Thank you.
For the post-lunch session, live stream link will be the same. And I request all of you to join, comment, and make your